You too. What's good, your boy? Everything Water Waters, everything my familiar. Like I got for you guys a crazy strand build. This strand build so crazy you might go invisible, literally. But nah, man, if you guys like this type of video, man, please leave a like and subscribe, man. We are almost pushing that 500 subscribers, man. We are at like what, 97, 98. Let's run up these last. Come on, let's hit 500 by the end of the year, man. But yeah, again, man, if y'all like this type of video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. It's your boy, Everything Water Water is everything my familiar. Let's get straight into the video. Now, starting on this video, we're gonna start with the exotic weapon, the Final Warning. Now, honest truth, with this build, you can really use any strand weapon you want. The Immortal goes good with this build. The Quickstorm goes good with this build. The Osteriga, whatever it's called, goes good with this build. But the Final Warning is so fun to use, and like the little things it does AoE damage too after you hit the enemy with your 20 shots with the Final Warning. It has auto locking, so you can lock onto an enemy and just shoot in the air and it's automatically gonna go to them if they're not behind anything or something like that. This is by far my favorite strand weapon, man. You guys need to use this. I really don't see this weapon being used in a lot of builds, and I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. This build with a Final Warning is so crazy. It's so crazy. Everybody should be able to use this weapon with any strand. It's misunderstood. This weapon is so much fun to use. For strand itself is so much fun to use, man. But now let's get into our exotic helmet. Now for an exotic helmet, we got the Assassin's Cowl. Now you probably like, wait a minute. You probably only use this exotic for arc. For arc hunters, you know, with the little melee thing. This is probably with this build with the arc, it goes dummy. You soloing anything, but you never tried it out with strand. Now you guys know with the grapple. Now when you're using the grapple, you want to go crazy with this, because every hit, it's not even just the grapple. Your little melee, your sever, that debuffs enemies, that also makes you go invisible. Anything that has to do with melee finisher, anything will make you go invisible. So just imagine you going around grappling. Boom, you hit him, now you invisible. You pick up a tangle, you throw it at them, they don't know you there. And then your tangle goes into the whirling storm, which is we're going to talk about that when we get into our aspects. But this combination is elite. It's really elite. It's so much fun too, being able to kill enemies and get your super extremely fast and going invisible. So not only am I doing damage, I also have survivability. Come on, man, I need to get it to the program. This combo is crazy. Strand with Assassin's Cowl is crazy. It's crazy. But now let's get into the aspects, the fragments, and the subclass of this build. Let's get it. Alright, for our subclass, we are using the Silk Strike. Obviously, that's the only super for strand hunters. For our abilities, we're going Gambler's Dodge. You want to be able to reload your melee, because with the Assassin's Cowl, your Sever right here, your Thread Spike is gonna, once it like kills an enemy, you become invisible. So you got multiple ways to get invisible, so that's important. And then one of my favorite, the grapple for your grenade. The grapple is just so good because it does this melee that's really strong, and that melee also makes you go invisible with the Assassin's Cowl. So this makes this build so much fun. Now you got a whole bunch of ways to do crazy damage, and then a whole bunch of ways to have survivability with going into our fragments. That's going to give us a certain thing I'm going to get into. But for our aspects, we got Whirling, Maze Storm, and we're using Widow Silk. You want to have multiple grenade charges because we have Kickstart. So once we put one in the air, or if you create a tangle, which with Whirling Maelstrom, you're going to be able to create a tangle that's going to be turned into a Beyblade, and it's going to be going across, killing all the enemies, and you can actually grapple to that and not waste the grapple, which is pretty cool. Just in case you do, boom, you already have two with Widow Silk, so that's cool. Now going into our fragments, we have the Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. Now this is cool right here because you're going to be dealing so much damage with this strand build, and you want to be able to get your grapple as much as possible. Right here's probably the most important. Thread of Warding. Picking up an overpower grants you Woven Mail. Now Woven Mail gives you about, it got a debuff. It used to be 55%, but now it gives you like 50% like resistance, or the enemy resistance, which you basically get like a extra armor, which is really good. So that's really cool. Also, we got Thread of Ascent. activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon. With the final warning, you can literally just spam kickstart to the same exact spot, or there's a tangle and you will reload your weapon. So basically you have infinite reloads for the final warning. You don't have to reload your weapon once if you continue to grapple to the same spot. And then we have threat of continuity. This is simple. Strand, unravel, sever effects applied to targets have increased duration. You want to be able to debuff or crowd control your enemy as much as possible and as long as possible. So those are really the key. So that's really it for my abilities, aspects, and fragments. Now we're going to go into my stats and the weapons. Also, a reminder, make sure you are getting as much tangle as possible. You guys can see I have my tangle artifacts with all of these. Get as much as you can. Any strain artifacts too. Get as much as you can. You know, you also want to have these that buffs you or your weapon and stuff like that. So make sure these are also in there with your artifacts. Now going to our weapons, it's like I said, final warning is our exotic weapon we're going to be using. It's really good with Strand. I love it. We're going to be using the Prodigal Return. This is a really good shot because you got enhanced volt shot. You have lead of gold, so meaning you get ammo with special or heavy, which is pretty cool. And then with damage, you got the hothead with, this is a god roll, so you need auto loading holster and you need explosive light, which does stupid damage. This build has crazy damage, man. Crazy damage, crazy. Now for our stats, any content you want to do, I don't care if it's from strikes to to nightfalls, you want to have maxed out resilience. 100 resilience is mandatory for anything content. Make sure you have that in your build. I have 93 discipline. This is my grenade, so I get my grenades in like 41 seconds compared to, well, if it's maxed out I get it at 41, so I get it at 47. My apologies. And anything else, obviously mobility is next. For we want to be able to get our dodge to get our melee, but because of all our mods, we're probably going to get our melee and dodge pretty quickly, which is pretty cool. And going into our mods, this is really simple. I'm using hands-on. Like I said, this is important. Melee kickstart. I got focus and strike, so this right here is going to make you, when you extend your melee, your grapple as far as possible to that grapple point, you're gonna waste like half. Now if you have like 3, you might not waste barely, like maybe you probably waste like 25%, you know, which is pretty cool. And you want to have emergency reinforcement. That's good for your chest. Basically when you lose your armor, you get reduction damage temporary, which is good. Then all of these is basically just healing. You want to make sure you have Reaper, which after using your class ability, you're gonna your next weapon final blow spawns are overpowered. I'm using powerful attraction, which brings those overpowers to me when I do use a class ability, which is really cool, man. That's really it for the build. If you guys like this type of video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. It's your boy Everything Water, and water is everything, my familia. I'm out.